Hey y'all. Alright, so I just wanted to pop on in and share with you a story that happened to me about a week before I went to the Philadelphia Trans Health Conference. But first, whenever I see whenever I get a new haircut and I see it in a video, I'm like, wait, gotta hide that. Gotta hide it. So I'll hide it with my .5cc hat. In any case, Tiger's here too, so he's here for the conversation. You can't see him because he's asleep, and he likes to sleep during these conversations. So, in any case, I want to talk a bit about my privilege to be able to pass and how I use that privilege in the face of transphobia and the results of that. So I'll just, let's just jump into the story and then we can analyze it after. So essentially, about a couple weeks ago, I was at work, and I work in retail banking. It's like customer service. So I interact with all sorts of people every day. Tons and tons and tons of them. I've got regular customers, I've got new customers, a lot of people are younger, a lot of people are older, so it's a wide variety, all across the spectrum of everything. So, in any case, there's some customers that, I have on the regular, and there's this one guy, he's a bit older white male, and he always sort of likes to bring up some deeper topics, and usually I agree with him on his opinions. We'll talk about, the state of the world, things like that, and it's just like a casual conversation. But in any case, he came in a couple weeks ago, and it was just me and my other teller there, and towards the end of our conversation, wrap up the transaction, and he decides to mention something, and he goes, "Oh man, I just can't even believe society these days. Like, the fact that people think it's okay for Bruce Jenner to be doing whatever he's doing it's sickening. It's messed up. It's so wrong. Like, I cannot believe that people are okay with this." So I was like, Keith, tell me a little bit more about that opinion. And he's like, well, it's just clear that she's mentally ill. She's mentally sick. He's mentally sick. I don't know what pronouns that he was. Probably mostly he. He's mentally sick. And it's just disgusting that we think this is acceptable. Like, these people are freaks. So I was like, well, sir, I think it was actually pretty brave of her to come out and to be on the cover of Vanity Fair like that, and to be really exposing herself to the world like this after living so long in something that she wasn't. I think that's really an admirable thing. And he goes, no, those transgenders, it's not admirable at all. So I just looked him straight in the eye and I go, well, sir, I am transgender. And he goes, tss. And I'm like, no, sir, I'm transgender. And he goes, no, you're not. No, you're not. Like, look at you. You're a dude. Like, you look just like a guy. You're not laughing it off. And I go, no, actually, sir, I am transgender. If you want, here's my business card. You can Google my name, or if you'd like, my boss is in that cubicle over there, and you can go on in and ask him yourself. I was born female, and I've transitioned to a man since I was 16. And he just goes, but you're such a handsome guy. You're such a handsome man. Like, no way that you're trans, but wow, good for you. And I was like, thanks. So if you're calling Caitlyn Jenner mentally ill and sick and a freak, I just want you to say you're also calling me that. And he's like, no, I'm not calling you that, because you look like a guy, and you're a really handsome young guy, but Bruce is not. Bruce is that's messed up. That is wrong. That is mentally ill. You're not mentally ill. That's mentally ill. And so I'm like, look, if you're saying that Caitlyn Jenner is mentally ill because she's trans, you're saying that I'm mentally ill because I'm also trans. There's no difference between this identity and this journey between us. We are both transgender people. So you cannot say that I'm not mentally ill just because you find me to be acceptable physically to you, but not her. That's not okay. And so he goes, well, I just can't believe that you're trans. And gosh. So I can see the gears turning in his head, sort of like, am I ever going to be able to come back in this bank again? And so my boss had perked up, and he's looking over, but he can see that I'm sort of handling the situation. My other teller's there with the customer, this woman who kind of is looking in on the conversation too. So in any case, my customer leaves, and he's basically like, well, and he shakes my hand, he's smiling, he's like, you've really opened my mind. You've really opened my mind. I don't honestly believe that, but he left all smiling and cheery and said bye to everybody. it was really bizarre. So my other teller, her customer is like, wait, were you serious? Like, have you, like, did you have facial surgery? Because you really look like a boy. And I was like, I know, it's testosterone has changed my face. I haven't had any facial surgery or anything like that. And she was kind of looking at it like, wow, like, that's really amazing. Like, I wouldn't have known, but that's really amazing. So there's kind of a different reaction to it, right? I'm comfortable outing myself at work because my boss is openly gay. Everyone on my team knows that I'm trans. However, my teller did not know because she just joined. She didn't know that I was trans. So the moment her customer leaves, I look at her and I'm just like, I am so sorry. Like, that is not how I expected to come out to you. I would have told you, it just never came up. And she just goes, wait, you were being serious? Like, you were telling the truth? Because I thought that you were just lying to him to make a point. And I was still gonna love you and say, good for you, Sky, to make a point and be like, don't judge those people. Like, that is wrong. But you're actually trans? And I was like, yeah, like, I'm actually trans. I wasn't just saying that to be a jerk or to be like, whatever, not a jerk, but like to, combat this guy. And she's just like, oh my God, why didn't you tell me? Like, I love you 100 million times more now. Like, all my friends are LGBT. Like, I love the community. Like, we need to talk. And so our, like, friendship and, relationship has been so great since then. But it was just this moment, right? So we'll go back to this moment. So, right, something good came from it in a way. But back to this moment of, I know that I have privilege of passing as a cisgender man. I know that. Like, I'm well aware. I choose to out myself all the time and to be an advocate for the community that honestly saved my life, which is the open and out trans community. And so I like to out myself when it's appropriate, or all the time, because I want the people who maybe can't be out, maybe have to live stealth, or maybe just choose to live stealth, I want them to be able to do that. Like, I was able to do that in college, and then I chose not to. And that was all the work that everyone had done before me. And so when I went down to Philadelphia Trans Health and I heard Teak Milan speak about how with, trans in the news, how people feel like, gotta be an advocate, like, gotta be a spokesperson, like, gotta out myself and put myself in these situations all the time on behalf of my community. I really liked what he said, where that's not the case. We're a widespread community, and only those of us who feel like they are able to do that, to out themselves safely and in that kind of environment, should feel like they should, versus those of us, like me 6 years ago, I wouldn't be in this position. I was way too insecure, way too just wanting to also, not even really insecure, but just wanting to, like, exist as a human, right? So what I want to say is that even though I know I have this privilege of passing as a cisgender man, I do still out myself all the time, and I'm finding that it's happening a lot more now that this conversation is in the general public, because the general public has a lot of opinions on it. So essentially, I just feel like this argument of, well, you look beautiful, so your transition is acceptable, but Caitlyn Jenner's is not. I see this comparison all the time between so-and-so and so-and-so. Like, you're acceptable because you're beautiful. You're not societally beautifully acceptable, therefore you're a freak because you're trans. That is so wrong, and I'm all about breaking that down. So, if you have any stories or any advice that you'd like to share for others who maybe are put in these positions where trans is brought up, like in the bar or like in a random, grocery store conversation, how do you ever address it if the opinion is negative? Do you not address it? And if not, why? And what does this mean? Like, what are these conversations like? So if you feel comfortable sharing any of your experiences, please do below. I'm really curious to see if since Caitlyn Jenner's coming out, if other people have been having these types of interactions and conversations. So that's just one, and I think that one is just kind of like bizarre and somewhat, I can twist it in sort of a funny way, but there have been ones that like really have not been too funny so far, so I can share those later. But in any case, in the comments below, please let me know what you think. And again, sorry that I just dropped so much in this transphobia, privilege, passing, all this stuff going on, but in any case, I wanted to share that story with you all. So thank you so much for tuning in, and let's see. Peace out from Tiger and I. Right, Tiggs? There you are. There he is. Hey, he says, transphobia is bad. Don't be transphobic. I accept and love you all. Right? He does. All right. Peace.